Transfer season is in full swing. A lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts. Sorry about the delay. Had to get a couple things in order. But man, I tell you what, all this news just flying left and right. It's hard to even keep up with. Some of the stuff you kind of miss if you blink your eyes too quick. You miss a transfer or two. A lot of teams making moves. And I think a lot of teams are going to improve significantly this offseason. So let's talk about it. Let's start off with, if you read the title, we got Luis Suarez reportedly re-signing with Inter Miami, Walker Zimmerman going to Toronto FC. We'll talk about that. And then a couple other moves that were announced today officially. Guys, before we get into it, make sure you like this stream down below if you haven't already. It helps us out. The show is free. So make sure you guys like it. Also, we are 500 subscribers away from 12,000. We have 2 weeks to hit 12K. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of our videos. So let's get into this. Let's talk about a signing that Inter Miami made official today, though. First, I want to talk about, let me make sure I pull up the right one. Okay, here we go. So today, Inter Miami officially announced that they were signing Sergio Reguilón. Okay, Sergio Reguilón is a 28-year-old left back who most recently played for Tottenham. He had been on loan several times. We'll look at his resume real quick as well. But this was a signing that Fabrizio Romano had reported on 2 months ago, I think. And then it kind of died down. We really didn't hear much about it after they had announced that they were signing him. But they made it official today. Makes a lot of sense when you think about it because he's going to slot in for Jordi Alba. Jordi Alba retired after this season. He was 36 years old. He was going to be 37 in March. So they just signed a left back who was 7 years younger than Jordi Alba. So that, it's debatable if they upgraded, just because he's been injury prone so much. I'm going to pull up his Wikipedia page real quick just to kind of look at his appearances. So he played for Real Madrid, 14 appearances, 2018 to 2020. He went on loan to Sevilla, 31 appearances, 2 goals in 2019, 2020. Then he got sold to Tottenham. I think it was 27 million pounds. He had 27.5 million pounds. And he was a signing of the request of Jose Mourinho. So he went to Tottenham and he played decently the first 2 years, 27 appearances in 2020, 2021, 25 appearances in 2021, 2022. Then he went on loan to Atletico Madrid, 11 appearances in the whole season. Then he went on a loan again to Manchester United, 9 appearances in 23, 24. I guess they terminated the loan early. He goes on loan to Brentford. So he had 25 appearances in 2 seasons, or 1 season, excuse me, in the Premier League. Then in 2024, 2025, he had 4 appearances. This is a guy that gets injured quite a bit. He's not a bad player. Everyone says he's very talented. He was good enough to make the Spanish national team. He had 7 caps with the Spanish national team. He hasn't had an appearance since 2021. But this is a guy that's pretty good. I mean, if he's healthy, guys, if he's healthy, no one thinks he's going to be as good as Jordi Alba, at Jordi Alba's peak. But for Inter Miami, I think this is an upgrade because of age if he can stay healthy. This is a team that has to get younger. They have to get younger. This is a team that had 5 starters who were 37 plus this year, if I'm not mistaken. 37? Yeah, 36 plus. They had 5 starters who were 36 years old or older this season. They have to get younger. So Sergio Reguilón is a pretty decent signing. And to Mr. Mister's point, he said Reguilón is a decent signing. And he said it's a TAM deal, I think. And yes, I haven't seen anything. We'll click on it real quick. We'll read it. I haven't seen anything to say that it's not a TAM deal. Inter Miami announced that they would sign the Spanish left back Sergio Reguilón through December 2027. So it's a 2-year deal with an extension option until December of 2028. Reguilón, who will occupy an international roster spot, obviously, because he's a Spanish international, adds valuable depth to the squad, bringing a wealth of experience, having competed at the highest level of European football. And he said it's a very ambitious project, a winning club that is doing the things the right way, and that's what attracted me. Coming here to keep winning and competing. My objective is to keep winning and go after trophies we're missing and win every. Yeah, so obviously he's going to say that, but he also wanted to play with Messi. And I think he did take a discount to come to Major League Soccer. So they got a really good deal, probably. He's probably not making about $1.5 to $1.6 million a year, I would say. And he is going to help, like I said, this youth movement. So that's a good signing. And there's a lot of other things they've done. We got a lot of other stuff to cover. So that's a good signing. I don't know what you guys think, but if you think this is a good or bad signing for Inter Miami, I think it's good. Curious to know what you guys think about that one. Okay, we also have an update on Tadeo Allende. Tadeo Allende, and this is not all Miami, it's just kind of going through the Miami stuff, and then we'll get to the other teams. So apparently Celta Vigo's sporting director said today, it's an update from our friend Inter Miami News Hub, Inter Miami have shown interest and made approaches for Tadeo Allende, but we're still far apart on the numbers. The window isn't open yet, so we need to be patient. He's scheduled to report for training on January 2nd. We'll see what happens before then or during January. Now, we all know that Inter Miami want to re-sign Tadeo Allende, but it has to make financial sense. They're not going to spend $5-6 million a year, or not a year, but $5-6 million transfer fee on him to bring him over, because then he would be a DP. He's not worth a DP spot. He's just not, honestly. So that doesn't make any sense to sign him or spend that kind of money on him. So Inter Miami's kind of at a standstill right now. We don't really know what they're going to do, but they're probably not going to be able to re-sign Tadeo Allende on loan. And I don't think Celta Vigo is going to sell him at a discounted price to make sure he's not a designated player. So I think it's likely Tadeo Allende will not play with Inter Miami in 2026. Now, I could be wrong about this, but as of right now, it's trending that he will not return to Inter Miami. These are the complications of MLS roster rules. These are the complications of MLS roster rules, that when you have a player on loan and you have to buy them, normally they're going to be a DP because you take their salary plus their transfer fee, add it together, and then you divide it by how long the contract is. And if that exceeds the max TAM limit, then they would be a DP. Tadeo Allende was making $1 million a year last year, if I'm not mistaken. He would probably want a pay raise. And on top of that, he also would cost $4, $5, maybe $6 million. So I don't think that Tadeo Allende is likely to return. Now, like I said, I could be wrong about this. But I just don't think he's going to return. I think Tadeo Allende, his time has came and went, and he will not be a player of Inter Miami. Which that does suck to lose. A player like him just because of what he did in the playoff run. But that's just part of the business. D Hill says, "Haha, everyone is crying." I get maybe, I guess. Alan says, I think it's a good signing, but I want to keep seeing them get younger. Oh, you're talking about the Sergio Reguilón. I agree with that. Mister, if they can't get Allende, they really should ask Vilas about Mayor Carrizo. I do think they've got contingency plans if they can't sign Tadeo Allende back. I do think they have something in the fold or something up their sleeve. I just, I don't think they're putting all their eggs in that basket. So we'll see what happens. Okay. We got a couple other comments. Reguilón is a flop. He never won a trophy in any clubs. He went to all the big clubs and still flopped. You people care about MLS move than CONCACAF Champions Cup. I am here worried about Liga MX. I mean, I don't think he's trash. I think he's just injury prone quite a bit. But, listen, things happen, man. I think he's good for Major League Soccer if he can stay healthy. Is he going to be as good as Jordi Alba? I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be as good as Jordi Alba. Probably not. But he is 7 years younger than him. So that does help a little bit. Allende should only play for Miami in the playoffs. Here's another thing I'll say, too, about Allende real quick. Tadeo Allende is a good enough player to where if Inter Miami can't sign him as a DP, which they shouldn't, that doesn't mean another MLS team shouldn't maybe try to go get him. Another MLS team might need to try to go get Tadeo Allende because he did score 9 goals in the playoffs. And let's be honest, guys, if he played on several other MLS teams, he would be their best player. He would be one of the best players on several MLS teams. So if Inter Miami can't get him, they have his rights. They need to trade his rights away, or dibs is what they call them, dibs or whatever. They need to trade his rights away, and I do think another MLS team should try to approach signing Tadeo Allende. He's a good enough player to keep in the league. I just don't think it's a smart move to make a guy who's on your team in the year before as a non-DP, making them a DP. I think that's bad business. I don't think that that's good. Got a $5 super chat from Adam. He says, as a Galaxy supporter, who needs a bigger offseason acquisition, the Galaxy or LAFC? We will talk about that in a second, Adam. I'm gonna keep that saved because I want to talk about the Galaxy's big move that they made as well. They have made a very big move, in my opinion, which some people are knocking it. I don't understand why, but they made a very big move, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. So just hang on tight. We're going to talk about that. Mr. says, I can see Allende going to River Plate. I mean, yeah, I definitely can see that too, but I do think an MLS team needs to get in the fold if they I do think an MLS team needs to try to get into the running to signing him if he can't come to an agreement with Inter Miami. William Mayer says, hi, Will. Glad to see you again, bro. Appreciate it, William. Thanks for dropping by. Guys, also, if you haven't already, make sure you guys smash the like button. It helps us out. We're trying to get to 100 likes on this stream. Got a lot of other transfer rumors to talk about. It helps us out with the algorithm, helps us push this video. We're trying to grow as much as we can. Biggest MLS channel that there is, thanks to you guys. So make sure you guys like this down below if you haven't already and subscribe to the channel. We are 500 subscribers away from 12K, getting closer and closer. 2 weeks left. And also, yeah, Timo Werner rumors are they're false. They're not. It's not going to happen. Let's move on to our final piece of Inter Miami news, and that is Luis Suarez. So my good friend Danny Solana says Luis Suarez will accept a 1-year extension and is running it back for 2026. And he also says Facundo Mura is now officially a Heron. Legendary 9 is staying. New right back is arriving. I think that this is a huge mistake for Inter Miami to re-sign Luis Suarez. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I think that we saw Inter Miami played better without him down the stretch of the season. They won MLS Cup without him. I think they won MLS Cup because he didn't play. And it really doesn't make sense to sign him to be a backup player. I think they could use those funds elsewhere and be more productive. And honestly, too, he's just such a bad person, really on the field and off the field, to be honest with you. I thought maybe it was time to really just get rid of that era, right? Move on from that era. Sergio Busquets retired. Jordi Alba retired. I think it was time for Luis Suarez to retire or at least go back to Nacional. I think this is a bad move. I don't know what you guys think because I feel like he's going to try to work his way back into the rotation and play. And he's just so washed at this point. La Tortuga is just done. And I don't think he really helps this team. I think he hurts his team in many ways. So it really makes no sense. Suarez needs to be on the bench. I think he needs to be in the retirement home, honestly, or with a surgeon for his knees, man. I just think that there's so many other places he needs to be than Inter Miami. Yeah, but even as a sub, I don't think he really makes sense. I don't know. I think that, I mean, he didn't even play a single minute in the MLS Cup final and they won. He didn't play a single minute. And I'm not saying he can't be a decent bench player, but his personality and all the cons to him, I just feel like they outweigh they outweigh the pros. So I think it's not a good. I personally wouldn't do it. That's just my opinion on that. So we'll see what happens with that. Now here is the next thing, right? This is the next thing. We're moving off of Inter Miami. Let's talk about Toronto FC. Toronto FC have reportedly signed free agent center back Walker Zimmerman, who most recently played with Nashville SC. Walker Zimmerman is 32 years old. He won Defender of the Year 3 years in a row. Very important piece, Nashville SC, since their inception in their first year in Major League Soccer in 2020. But he was washed. I mean, if we're being honest, he was a DP. He's the highest paid center back in Major League Soccer in 2025. He made $3.5 million as a center back, which is absurd. He's the second highest paid center back in MLS history, only behind Rafa Marquez for the Red Bulls, who was making $6.5 million back in 2010. He's the second highest paid center back of all time. He isn't remotely close to being that productive or that of that quality or ilk at this point in his career. And he's signing with Toronto FC, which is a team that hasn't been good in a couple years. They haven't made the playoffs since 2019. 2019, I think, is the last time Toronto FC has made the playoffs, which is crazy because they went on that crazy run for a couple years with Sebastian Jovinko and Alejandro Pozuelo. But he goes to Toronto FC to help them solidify their back line. I like this move because Zimmerman is not a DP. And Mr. asks, how much are Toronto FC paying Zimmerman? I don't know the exact amount, but I know he's not a DP, so he's not going to be any more than a max TIM, $1.6, $1.7 million a year, which still is a little pricey for him. But as long as he's not making a DP salary or taking up a DP spot, I actually think this is a pretty good deal. And this is a team that needs guys like this. They need some veterans. They need some people in the locker room who has done it at a high level. It's just like a culture thing, right? He's not what he used to be, but he is still a culture builder that can really help maybe get that team back on track. That's what I would say. So we'll see how that pans out. That is an interesting move. I'm just happy that Nashville SC didn't re-sign him on a DP deal because that would have been ridiculous. He's not worth a DP deal at 32 years old. He'll be 33 in 2026. We'll see what he can do. All right, next big next big defender move. And I really like this one a lot. LA Galaxy. And I, Adam, here we go. LA Galaxy. Your LA Galaxy have signed or traded for Jakob Glesnes of Philadelphia Union. He's 2025 MLS Defender of the Year. What, did he win MLS Defender of the Year? I think he did in 2025. I thought he won Defender of the Year as well, but he was Defender of the Year in 2022. Either way, he was a runner-up if he didn't win it in 2025. Either way, best 11 center back in 2025. I think he's still good. A lot of Philadelphia fans were saying he's washed. I don't really get that. I think he was solid in 2025. Maybe you could make the argument you're selling a year early rather than a year late. But I don't think he's bad, especially for a team like the Galaxy who desperately needs some center back help. They were horrible in 2025. They trade for him. And Jakob Glesnes, let's see. So they traded away at $1.1 million in GAM and the homegrown priority for Jameer Johnson. Oh no, they got okay. So they got the homegrown priority for Jameer Johnson and Jakob Glesnes for $1.1 million in GAM, and Jakob Glesnes has signed through 2027 with an option for 2028. I like this signing quite a bit. Like I said, Jakob Glesnes was the defender of the year in 2022, and I think he was the runner up in 2025. He was MLS best 11. He's been MLS best 11 two times, and he's got 178 caps for the Philadelphia Union. He's 6'2", so he's big. He's scored some absolute bangers, by the way. My God, he's a free kick god. Some of the deep, I mean, that's not what they're signing him for, but just have to say that. I mean, he has scored some absolute worldies in his time in MLS for a center back, especially. Hell, even if he was a center back, they'd be crazy good. But this is something you do when you're trying to, like I said earlier, like Zimmerman, you're trying to build with players who have had success in MLS, who have shown that they can win at the highest level, who can help rebuild the culture. And these two teams have broken cultures. The LA Galaxy have a broken culture. They went from MLS Cup champs to the worst team in Major League Soccer in 2025. They went 16 games winless in the first 16 games of the season. This is a team that's completely broken, and they're getting the Nordic center back to help reshape things. I would expect this to probably be the end of Maya Yoshida. I would expect them to probably buy him out. He's 37 years old. He'll be 38 next year. I would expect Jakob Glesnes to be the replacement for Maya Yoshida. They'll probably end up buying him out. And I expect this to be one of many other moves the Galaxy will need to make and are going to make. I like this move a lot. I think that this is how you really start to, I don't want to say they're going to turn it completely around because there's other things they got to do, but this is a step in the right direction for the Galaxy. Mr. says, thing is, the Galaxy can't rely on Maya Yoshida anymore. He's 37. Need someone like Glesnes they need someone like Glesnes is a smart signing. I agree with that. I agree for sure. Zimmerman reminds me of Michael Bradley because both were USMNT starters, players, and both plays for Toronto. Yeah. I mean, Michael Bradley was a very smart player, and he actually got announced as the New York Red Bulls manager this year in 2026. So he's going to be the new manager. MD says, hi, Will. Good morning. MD, appreciate you for joining, my friend. Galaxy have Ricky Puig. Yeah, Ricky Puig will be back too, but they still need some other things. The Galaxy, they're not a good team. They're really, really bad. They had a terrible spell in 2025. They were arguably the worst team in the league in 2025. So that's a really good move for the LA Galaxy, and I think it's going to help solidify. Still a couple other things I think they need to do in order to solidify. I think they need some depth in other places. They desperately need a striker. I'm going to be curious to see if they do get a striker in 2026 because they signed, what was his name? Matheus Nascimento, the Brazilian striker on loan from Vasco da Gama, I think is where he was from. He didn't pan out and he got injured a lot. So I think that would be something they're going to prioritize this offseason is getting a better striker up top because they missed Joveljic a lot. Like he was missed very, very much in 2025, especially between Paintsil and Peck. So we'll see if they're able to do this. I also want to touch on this real quick too. Fabrizio reported that Thiago Silva, the 41-year-old center back, legend, right? Absolute legend for Brazil. Thiago Silva's clear plan is to move to Europe next as a free agent ahead of any other option in the Middle East or MLS. He wants to get closer to his family, and Europe is the clear priority. Deal on. Okay, we'll see if he goes back to Europe, but if he can't, I think an MLS team, I just want to touch on that real quick. If he can't, I think an MLS team needs to approach. I think an MLS team needs to approach signing Thiago Silva, and I think that'd be, he is 41 years old, but I think he still wants to play. Did he retire from the Brazilian national team yet, or is he still playing? I mean, that might sound crazy to say out loud. Okay, he did in 2022. Either way, I still think he's good. Like he's a guy that's kind of aged very well when it comes to playing. Like he's obviously not what he was in like 2012, 2013, 2014 when he was playing for PSG, But I still think he's very good. And I know that if he does sign for an MLS team, they're gonna be like, oh my God, it's the the retirement league and all that. But it's all about how good you are. Who cares how old you are? It's about if you're any good anymore. Sergio Ramos is available. Sergio Ramos recently played for Monterrey, obviously. I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know who would sign him. Who would you want to see sign Sergio Ramos at this point? Like who would be a team that would be you would like him to go to? He's 39 years old. And I know that we just said Thiago Silva's 41, so I understand that, but where would he sign? I don't think Miami's going to sign him. San Diego FC had a chance to sign him last year. They chose not to. I don't know where he would go. I don't know where he would go if he didn't go to Miami. So we'll keep an eye on that. Next thing I want to talk about, Josef Martinez. Josef Martinez, the Atlanta United legend, looks like he's going to the Zolos. He's going to Tijuana. He's going to play for Liga MX now. I'm a little surprised by this, honestly. I'm really surprised by this. Let me get a sip of water real quick. I'm a little surprised by this because he's a free agent. His guy is back with Atlanta United and Tata Martino. I thought that we were going to get the farewell tour of Josef Martinez back in Atlanta. I thought that's where he was going. But it looks like he's got other plans and he won't be rejoining or reuniting with Atlanta United and Tata Martino. Now, Josef Martinez had his best success under Tata Martino. If you look at his stats, he had 19 goals in 2017, 31 goals in 2018. He had a pretty good year under Frank de Boer in 2019. He had 27 goals. He found his rhythm again. Then he tore his ACL in the first game of the inaugural match versus Nashville SC in 2020. And then he was really never the same. He hadn't scored more than 14 goals, which was this season, which was his best since 2019. Most of his success came under Tata Martino and Atlanta United. He's a free agent. He's not costing nearly as much as what he once was. He's not a DP worthy player anymore. And Atlanta United need striker depth. I'm very surprised that they didn't sign him for one last hurrah. And not only that, but he was trying to be the all-time MLS. He was getting closer and closer to being the MLS's all-time league scorer. He had 98 goals in his Atlanta United tenure, and then he had 18, 32. So he had 130 goals. I think he's about 40 off of being the all-time leader. Chris Wondolowski's got the all-time record, but I'm very surprised that he didn't go back to Atlanta United. I'm very surprised by that. I thought he was going to have and like I said, Atlanta United was a team in 2026 or 2025 that disappointed. I thought they were going to be much better than what they were, and they spent all this money and they were a huge flop. I think the theme of this too, guys, is talking about some of these transfers that they've made is building the culture back up. That's a team that needs to build the culture back up. What player knows the culture better than Josef Martinez for Tata Martino? I mean, he knows it. They would have reunited him with Miguel Almiron. I mean, that would have been incredible. So I'm a little disappointed. I'm surprised we haven't seen him go back, but it looks like he's going to Liga MX. So it's a very surprising move. Very surprising move. So what are you guys talking about? Let's see. Otamendi over Ramos. Well, I mean, that's a no-brainer. I mean, Otamendi is what? Almost 10 years younger than Sergio Ramos. Let's see. Okay, he's not. He's actually older than I thought he was. Otamendi's 37 already. Wow. He's 2 years younger than Sergio Ramos. Who's the Argentine center back that was playing in the Saudi league? I thought it was Otamendi. Who am I thinking of? Who was the center back I'm thinking of that played for the Saudi Pro League? Huh. I must be thinking of someone else. Either way, yeah, Nicolas Otamendi, he's playing for Benfica right now. That would be an interesting move. 37. I don't really know what he would cost. I think I'd rather have him as well than Sergio Ramos. And obviously, uh, I think that, they obviously has a tie with Messi because they play for the national team together. And he still plays for the national team. So that would make sense, honestly. Nicolas Otamendi going to Inter Miami. But I just don't know if he wants to move. He might want to stay in Benfica at least until after the World Cup. Dybala at Inter Miami, who says no? Perfect DP. No, God, no, not Dybala. Dybala gets hurt too much. Inter Miami need to use that DP spot on someone who's between 25 and 29 years old, who's a striker, who's healthy. That's what they. No big names. No one over 30. It needs to be someone young. That's my opinion on that. We'll see what they do. Griezmann fits with Inter Miami. Yeah, Griezmann does. And listen, I'll go ahead and pull this up too because this came up. We were done talking about Inter Miami, but I think this is interesting, so we'll talk about this. Let's see. Now, this one's interesting. I didn't really want to touch on this because it wasn't to the summer anyways, but I think it might be relevant because we're talking about, other players that might be interested. So Lewandowski, the new 9 for the Herons. According to reports from Poland, Inter Miami would go after the 37-year-old forward. His contract with Barcelona expires in mid-2026, and his future would be far from Camp Nou. On Moka Futbola program, former footballer Marika Joswiak stated in Miami, they're already looking for a house for him. I don't know if I believe that. Robert Lewandowski is one of my favorite strikers of all time, and I respect him, and I would have loved to see him come in Major League Soccer, but I just think that ship has kind of came and went. It's sailed. That ship has sailed. I mean, he's 37 years old. He'll be 38 in August. He's, I feel like he pretty much gave every last ounce of gas he had for Barcelona when he signed in 2022 at 34 years old. He had 77 goals in 115 matches, which is really good, but why would you want to sign a 38-year-old striker? He's only 1 year younger than Luis Suarez. Now, he definitely has more left in the tank than Luis Suarez does at this point, but that's still that's the opposite direction of what Inter Miami need to be heading. They need to be signing players young who have a lot left to give. And I just don't think Robert Lewandowski. I'd love to know what you guys think. Would you want to sign Robert Lewandowski if you're Inter Miami? I mean, he's 37 years old. Be 38 by the time when they sign him or he makes his first appearance. Really doesn't make any sense, but that's what they're saying. That this rumor has been going around for quite a while about him going to Inter Miami. I just don't see it. I don't see it. MD says, okay, chat. Will saying Miami should sign 25-year-old player to DP. I mean, what is the freaking reason a bright shine player will move to MLS to end his career? No, I mean, there's definitely players that will come here at 25 years old. It happens all the time. There's good players who come here at 25, and it's not really ruining your career. If you play with Miami and you're good, you could still have a future with your national team. You could still get called up. I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities. And honestly, if you're playing with Messi, your form will probably be pretty good, and you probably will be a important piece to your national team. Tadeo Allende literally had so many chances. If Tadeo Allende finished half the chances, that he had, who knows where he would be right now? He probably broke the MLS record for most goals scored. So if you play in front of Messi, you're going to have a chance. Like that's going to happen. I mean, you're going to get eyes on you too. Look at Diego Gomez. He came from Paraguay, a small Paraguayan club. Came to Inter Miami for 18 months, and then he was sold for $20 million. So you're gonna have eyes on you. So, guys, also we got 88 people in the chat. Make sure you guys like this down below if you haven't already. We got 25 likes. We're trying to get to 100. So, guys, make sure you smash the like button if you haven't already. It helps us out. Also, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. 500 subscribers until 12K. We got some other content on the way. This is just the first of many transfer videos. A lot of stuff is moving around. It's going to be a huge, huge off season. You guys aren't going to miss any of my stuff. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel hit the little bell notification so you guys are up to date on everything that happens, all my new videos, all my live streams, anything that I put out. Make sure you guys hit that little bell notification. Sub says, Inter Miami want to win CONCACAF Champions Cup. Inter Miami need fast-paced striker. Exactly. And you're not going to get that with a 32-year-old player. You got to go sign someone who's 25 to 27 years old. We'll see what happens. We'll see if that's what they do. We'll see if that's the route they take. Like I said, we haven't really heard anything about that. Also, let's talk about I talked about this a little bit with Danny. Now they're also, on the verge of signing this right back named Facundo Mura. He plays for Racing in Argentina. He's likely going to probably battle Ian Frey for a starting spot. So I think that's a good signing too. They're going a lot younger. I mean, 26 years old. He's a little older than Chelo Winged, but he's better than Chelo. So he's a lot better than Chelo. MD says, and Will, if you really want to bring 25-year-old players to Miami as DPs, you have to give him $50 million salary, just like Saudi. A young player is not going to load their money and come to Miami or MLS. That's just not true. I couldn't disagree more. I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. Look at this right here, MD. Kevin Danke, 25 years old, signed with Cincinnati last year at 24, okay? 25 years old right now, 24 when he signed with Cincinnati, okay? He was the Golden Boot winner of the Belgian Pro League, which is a better league than MLS. It is, if we're being honest. It's probably a better league. He scored 27 goals in 38 games at 24 years old, young, and the Golden Boot leader of the Belgian Pro League. Cincinnati was able to buy him for $16.2 million. Now, he costs a lot of money, but they bought him for $16.2 mil. And he was the Golden Boot winner in the Belgian Pro League. Like, players will come here if you're willing to spend. So, that's just not true. They definitely could sign a player who is 25 years old who can score and play well. The Belgian league is so mid. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, it's a top 10 league in the world. Oh, and here's another one for you guys. Ready for this one? Now he's a little bit older, but Anders Stryer came from the Belgian Pro League. He played for Anderlecht. He signed with San Diego FC at 26 years old. They bought him for $5 million. $5 million. And he came to MLS on an expansion team and had 19 goals and 19 assists. And he was the runner-up the same year that Kevin Danke won. He was the runner-up for the Golden Boot with 19 goals at Anderlecht. He had 19 goals this year, 19 assists. There are good players that will come here. It's not a career ruiner. Honestly, Anders Stryer has been so good with San Diego, he might even get a better move in Europe. He might not be here by the summer. He might not be here. No Belgian team can beat Miami or LAFC. I don't think that's true. I mean, I think that Anderlecht could probably compete or gank. I think there's some teams that could compete in the Belgian Pro League and MLS for sure. I mean, it's a good league. They play in the champ. There's very good teams. There's some very good teams. Ricky Puig is another good example. Ricky Puig was 23 years old. He played for Barcelona. He could have went to Roma. He could have went to Mallorca. There was a couple teams he could have went to, like some mid-table teams in La Liga or in the Serie A, and he chose to come to MLS, the Galaxy. He could still go over there. And Almada, Thiago Almada too. I mean, he also came to MLS at 22, 23 years old. What about Miguel Miron? He came over to MLS at 23 and then got to move over to Newcastle for an MLS record outgoing transfer fee. So, I mean, I think there's all kinds of possibilities for some of these players. So you want Marco Verratti? Who would you want him to sign for? Mr. mentioned him too. Miami should go for Marco Verratti. But here's the problem with him. It's like, he's good. But is he going to start over? But you just re-sign. I know he's way better than Yannick Bright, but I just think he would be a DP. I think they need a striker way more than they need another midfielder like that, at least. Yeah, Matteo Salvetti's been incredible for Inter Miami in 2026 or 2025. He was honestly the main reason, one of the big reasons why they were able to win MLS Cup. So Belgian Pro League is the 8th ranked league in UEFA. It's ranked higher than MLS, La Liga MX, and most leagues in South America. That's what I'm saying. I agree. I think it's a great league. I don't know why people. I mean, win the Golden Boot is impressive there. Very impressive for them. I don't think there's anything else I'm missing, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's pretty much it. Real quick, too, I want to touch on this just really, really quick, just because it's interesting. Look, like I said, we're going to be doing other videos this week or during the cycle. Maybe do one of these once a week if you guys enjoy these. So just, keep an eye on that. And if you guys have any questions, too, feel free to ask. Feel free to ask if you have any questions. But I want to touch on this real quick, because I think this is interesting, because this could be an off-season type thing, right? So Wilfried Nancy obviously took over for Celtic, and I might do a bigger video on this about MLS coaching. I don't know if you guys would be interested in this, but just talk about MLS coaching and how they have a longer leash and how the expectations aren't as high, and how that's an issue that they need to have. They need to have a higher standard. I think so. Okay, I might do a video on that. I'm curious if you guys would be interested in me doing something like that. But Celtic have lost the last 3 games. And apparently there's a lot of drama with Wilfried Nancy, who was appointed, former Columbus Crew and Montreal manager, is the new Celtic manager. He's been having issues, right? So they're talking about sacking him and getting rid of him. And a lot of people are saying that's crazy. There's no way you could do that. And it's dramatic, and it can set the team back, and it shows poor leadership, so on and so forth, right? And I do agree 3 games is kind of crazy. But apparently he's being really stubborn with his tactics. I think he is an incredible manager. I think he's one of the best managers, if not the most talented manager Major League Soccer has ever produced. He's just really struggling in Europe. He's really struggling right now. But I made this post, and I think this really just kind of cements how I feel about the situation. And I just said, I'm still mad at how much of a leash MLS teams give their managers. I said, look at the Galaxy. For example, they went winless in 16 matches. There isn't a single team in Europe who would allow their manager to be employed still after a horrible spell like that. What do the Galaxy do? They give Greg Vanney an extension. Teams in Europe move off bad managers. You know why? Because if they keep losing, they get relegated. Poor coaching has to have consequences. If you don't make the playoffs in MLS, you should be fired. And I just said all that because it's true that in Europe, you have a higher standard. If you don't win, you get fired, because if you keep losing, you're going to get relegated and the team is going to have to climb out of a hole. Major League Soccer, you get the longest leash. You can have 2 bad seasons and keep your job. Now, like I said, I do think that Wilfried Nancy deserves more than 3 games. Obviously, I think he deserves at least probably a minimum of maybe 10 games. But it's just crazy how different it is. People can't even, some MLS people can't even fathom that a coach get fired after 3 games. But this is common. If you suck, you're going to get fired. This is the world standard for winning and coaching in soccer. It just is. It's just crazy how it's a breath of fresh air, I think, of how the standards are. And honestly, Celtic should be dominating. If you look at their wage bill compared to other teams in the Scottish Premiership, it's not even close. I was listening to Celtic fans on the radio earlier begging Martin O'Neill to come back. Yeah, I read the comments about Martin O'Neill saying he tried to give advice to Wilfried Nancy. It was a 15-minute conversation. He really didn't want to have anything to do with him. He kind of just shrugged him off a little bit, hey, thank you for the advice, but hey, it is what it is. I'm kind of gonna do my own thing. It's interesting, if he does get fired from Celtic this quickly. I mean, he's only been in charge for 10 days. He's gonna have some suitors in Major League Soccer, and there's still some teams that don't have a coach at the moment. So it's gonna be interesting to see if he comes back to MLS this quick. Would he go back to the Crew immediately? God, that would be terrible to have the short of a stint with that short of a stint with a team and immediately be back at your old job. It's like you never even left. God, that would be terrible. But I mean, that's the reality we're living in. They're not doing very well. Andrew says having relegation promotion would make them MLS so much better. Like here in America, you get rewarded for being bad. Yeah, it's true. You do get rewarded for being bad, or it's not even you get rewarded. You just don't have any consequences for being bad. They don't care. Big Ange was let go for us after 39 days. Yeah, exactly, because he sucked when he was there. Octi says, yep, MLS fans are soft. They seem to hate winning behavior. That's why they cry about Miami pushing the standard. Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's if 18 teams make the playoffs out of 30. If you don't make the playoffs, you should be fired. I mean, that's not making the playoffs is essentially like being relegated as far as your results. You should be fired, and we'll see if that changes. But I just thought that was interesting. I thought that was an interesting thing to talk about with Wilfred Nancy and kind of see what you guys thought about him possibly coming back to MLS so soon after a bad stint with Celtic. We'll see if he can turn it around, but it's not looking good so far. Guys, I appreciate it. We went 47 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed this. A lot of stuff happening. I don't think I missed anything. If I did, we'll make sure to cover it next week when we do another one of these. I'm going to try to do them on Mondays or Tuesdays. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe we'll do an emergency one if there's some breaking news. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Transfer season's in full swing. It's going to be an amazing time. You guys aren't going to miss any of the coverage. If you enjoyed this live stream, make sure you like it down below if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like I said, 500 till 12K. Biggest MLS channel because of you guys. We keep growing like crazy. Biggest year we've ever had. I couldn't even imagine we were going to have a year like this, but it's because of you guys. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of our content, videos, live stream watch-alongs, emergency live streams when news is breaking, all for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys have a great night. Until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.